Hello and welcome to Arcade Couch, best place to join friends, get your game goodness each and every Monday. My name's Dylan Blunt. Joining me on the couch this week, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here in the week filled with good news for everybody.
And Ciaran Merchant.
Hello, here with the Overwatch is dead. There is an Overwatch killer, and all the news reports are true.
Are the news reports just your tweets, or?
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. So we'll be talking about Concord shortly, which is what that's about. Firstly, quick question. So someone at work today was like, "Oh, someone else said that you write about games or something," which happens every now and then when new people start. Like eventually, like it had happened. I was like, yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, what do you reckon the best game of the year is so far?" And I was like, I gotta be honest, I can't think of much. Like, if I was like, "What's the best game of 2024?" Does this year just feel weak so far, or is that just me?
No, I think it's. Oh well, I guess outside.
Just
like,
you.
Could be me.
I think it.
But what do you?
I think it just depends on what you vibed with. Like, I think for a lot of people, maybe Final
What are your
Fantasy's-
best games? Not everyone. I'm saying you personally. What do you name?
Me personally,
Yeah.
what I've even played this year. This is the thing.
exactly.
This is the thing, right? I haven't finished Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, so I don't really think I can say that. I don't think it's been as stacked as the last couple of years, but I think the end of this year or towards like the last 6 months of this year are more stacked than previous. I think the weird thing is definitely there hasn't been a big defining Sony IP.
Or just anything. Let me just. So, after the question was phrased, I did a Google and went found a website's list just so I could look through and be like, and by either which games have I played or which major ones have I missed. So let me just run from these are all like I think GameSpot's just done their like top 30, which is the thing, right? I don't think personally either the couple things that are like really stand out because everyone's done their like mid-year best lists. Now, to be clear, I also think if I did a best mid-year movie list, I could name more. Best mid-year TV list, I could name more. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like games currently. But anyway, so they start WWE 2K24, Unicorn Overlord, Ultras, Tekken 8, Tales of Kenzaru Zao, Stellar Blade, The Rogue Prince of Persia, Pepper Grinder, Pacific Drive, Doubtless Trials, Indica, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I forgot that came out this year, to be honest.
Top of the list.
It's the only one that anyone's had any reaction for so far. Ash nodded with that one. Final Fantasy 16, The Rising Tide, that's an expansion. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Yuden and Chronicle 100 Heroes, Crow Country, Children of the Sun, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, yes, for me, Persona 3 Reload, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, Laura Rely and the Laser Eyes, Helldivers 2, Hades 2, Dragon's Dogma 2, Destiny 2, The Final Shape.
That's a bit
okay. That Balatro, whatever it's called. Balatro, Animal Well, and Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree. Now, also for Elden Ring, expansion.
Well, there were a lot of expansions there.
There were a lot of expansions. So if we take out the expansions, the top 5 is Animal Well, Balataro, Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm not counting Hades 2 because it's early access, Helldivers 2, and Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. So reading that list, do you feel like there's a massive game there that you just haven't played?
All of them.
Like what? Really though, like if you look at that list, you're like, man, I really need to find time to play.
No, I think it's like, oh, if I find time or if I'm in the mood, I'll pick that up and play Balatro or.
So, like, what by the end of the year do you want to play off this, or at least dip your toes into?
Balatro, because people say that good. I know.
That's it. Cool.
I was only half listening, as usual. Oh, Prince of Persia, Lost Crown.
Which one? Oh, Lost Crown. Right. Ciaran?
that is Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is the one thing that I'd like to go back to. I don't think I will unless I randomly have like a bored moment.
Mhm.
I think there's just stuff down the line now that is just more interesting, and which is all, you could include Hades 2 on that list of things, like even
It's
though
on here.
it's on there. Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying you could.
It's
but
early access. Though.
It's early access, and I'm very much waiting for the whole experience, the whole full release of that game to even I even avoid like anything online. Like I see some character art and stuff, but
like I've played it like I did the first one earlier because I went, yep, this is great, can't wait.
Yeah, and then just no, I get you, and it's that thing where it's like, okay, I know I'm going to play that game no matter what, so yeah, I'm happy to wait for it. I think I'm excited for stuff coming down the line. I'm excited for stuff coming to Game Pass as long as you're a Game Pass Ultimate player. I'm excited for this. There's lots later in the year I think it's going to be very interesting, and I'm very curious to see how it plays out. I'm curious about Star Wars Outlaws. I'm curious about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like I'm interested to see how things do. My Steam wish list is just full of things from later this year or the start of next year that were from the Summer Games Fest. Like, I'm interested and excited a lot. I think this is the first year where it feels nice not having like a particular big AAA game that I'm like super excited for and interested in. It's more pick and choose what I'm going to be playing. I'm interested to see, after this weekend, and we'll talk about it a bit soon, like how much Concord's going to take of my interest and my attention.
A lot based on our PlayStation.
Yes.
So.
I just think I think there is the potential for the end of this year to be very big in gaming, but also I feel like it's a very weird year where, it's very weird that PlayStation don't have anything absolutely massive coming out because,
Concord, you just named it.
And Astrobot.
But then
2 of the biggest games of the year.
Like, I'll give you Concord, but like there's nothing in that AAA space in terms of like they do so well in spacing out your God of Wars, your Horizons, your
They have a Horizon coming out this year.
Yeah, Lego Horizon.
The Lego Horizon, but there's nothing like their blockbuster. There is nothing that is like marquee. I'm defining this space, and this year is going to be largely talked about like me. Like I think it's going to be very.
I'm well aware we just moved Plat to 2 weeks because PlayStation doesn't do shit. So yes.
Yeah, like it's it's that situation we're in now. So I'm excited and interested to see, what steps in to be the defining game of this year, because that door's wide open. In previous years, we've had Breath of the Tears of the Kingdom was kind of there in May, and everybody's like, well, fuck, how do we trump this? And then there's Baldur's Gate, and then, we have those big heavy hitter titles that have come in and do it. We don't really have that as of yet. You think that Final Fantasy VII would have been that, but I don't think it was. I think it was a good, solid AAA game, but I don't think it was the absolute smash, renowned hit that everybody was wanting to because of the issues people have with the mini games and some design choices in that game.
I think there's definitely also an element of games underperforming what we expected, because you've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth didn't hit the way we hoped, and then Hellblade didn't hit the way we hoped as well.
Anyone wanted. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait. Metaphor ReFantazio is going to be game of the year.
It could be 100%. It could be. It's wide open for it to be that thing. I don't think we're going to have anything this year that revolutionizes gaming. I don't think we're going to have anything that's going to be like, holy shit, balls, it's changing it all. Like Elden Ring has and Baldur's Gate 3 did. I don't think that is this year. This year is just going to be consistently big titles that are consistently good at what they want to do, but they're not, they're not revolutionizing. They're not changing the quote unquote game, for lack of a better term. Like they're there to present good quality content to its audiences. If anything, you'd almost say so far this year, in my opinion, the biggest thing has been Elden Ring's expansion. Like,
I feel like the biggest game, at least based on my personal Twitter for the year, has been Beltaro.
Yeah, but your Twitter is a weird place.
Easily.
I
think it's the indie hit of the year for sure.
Yeah. Do you say my
out of
Twitter's a
nowhere.
weird place?
Yes, still it is. For the person that is anybody who walks into the indie areas of PAX, you'll see Dylan there be like, I was born here. This is my place.
It's a
Mine.
weird place just filled with
Exciting times, exciting games. That's right. You said it. So looking at the list, I want to dip my toes in Animal Well. I don't know if I can committed to
apparently
finishing it,
it's
but
not that long, so
well, maybe then I'll finish it. It is on PS Extra, I think it was, or whatever. I think.
Yep.
Anyway, and then Bellator I've got on Switch. I've already purchased it a couple weeks ago, I think. I just haven't tried it yet. Dragon's Dogma 2, obviously I've got. It's on my shelf still in plastic. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, I definitely want to play. Been keen for that. I still haven't got around to it.
Of course.
Children of the Sun I liked. I remember talking about it on here based on the preview, so I wouldn't mind going back and playing that. And then I think the only other one from this list that I wouldn't mind trying is that Crow Country thing, which everyone loves. I don't know though, like this whole like PS1 vibe thing that seems to work. I don't know. Like looking at pictures, I'm like, I don't know, I don't get it. But maybe I need to try it.
Nostalgia for that era.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I feel like maybe I'd need to just try it to find out if I do or not. All right. Let me just run through a couple of news stories before we talk about Concord. Kotaku Australia to shut down, writes GameIndustry.biz. Kotaku Australia will be shutting down as the license holder Pedestrian Group has restructured to focus on its own brands. As reported by The Guardian, several titles from the company's portfolio of licensed publications will cease to exist in the country, also including Vice, Gizmodo, and Lifehacker. Dozens of staff are being laid off as a result of this move. They reportedly were informed of the news via an email sent by Pedestrian Group CEO Matt Rowley today, telling them, quote, "We've made the tough decision to focus on our wholly owned pedestrian brands where we control the strategy, the content, the product, the sales, and the outcome, the entire business. This will have an impact on sales within the group, and I appreciate the uncertainty this change creates. So we'll be in contact immediately with those people." End quote. Rowley is due to move on from his role as part of the transition with the new CEO to be appointed. Managing editor of Kotaku Australia, David Swift, commented on social media saying, quote, "Today, the story of Kotaku Australia comes to a sad and abrupt end. It has been one of the great joys of my life to wake up every day and run a site I love with all my heart." End quote. Crazy. Sucks.
Yep.
Don't know what else to say, to be honest. That's about it. But how wild is it? I mean, look, we were playing Concord last night, and I was saying then, like, it just, sort of just shows how volatile the whole industry is.
Yeah, I think we sort of worked out it's like a quarter of all paid games media jobs in Australia just got lost.
And it feels very backwards in terms of, Australia. And as I said to both of you last night, like Australia is in this thriving point from a point of games development where, consistently over the last few years, we've had big titles coming out of Australia. There are more grants, more government funding, more support. The industry itself is growing here and is now being recognized as a professionally viable industry for games development. So the fact that games media isn't going along for the ride, like it's one thing to, to be able to cover the news stories of these studios, but to be on the ground having access to them, to be able to talk to developers directly easily by going and having chats in person without having to fly overseas, without having to, take very extremely long trips. Like there is so much potential here. And I think it's extremely sad to see Kotaku go, but I don't think this is by any means the end of the games media landscape. I think it's a very big change for it. And I think it's the same thing that's happening in the esports scene. It is non-gaming focused companies or non kind of this, these industry companies coming in, they're buying something up expecting it to instantly turn a profit for them. It doesn't. So then the next best thing they can do is close things down to recoup some of that loss. I think it's a very impractical way to do it, and I think it's not. So now the games media space for Australia shrinks a little bit, but then it's now up to the people of this industry, the industry we're involved with, that make podcasts like we do, that write the news, that post things, that explore and review and preview things for the Australian public and for the public of the rest of the world that want to come in and join the content. It's up to us to make it big, to make it better, to improve and to grow it further. It's it's an interesting point and a very volatile point to be in this landscape.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just a sign of, I guess, like, I think obviously it's a money thing, but it just goes to show, I don't know, the amount of people reading websites is obviously like
lower.
Everyone just like people just watch shit on TikTok, right? You know what I mean? Like that's the or Instagram Reels, whatever.
Or they just look at the Metacritic score or Critic score.
So it's I don't want to say a dying industry because I don't actually believe it will ever fully die out. It's just a
unprofitable
niche.
Industry.
Unprofitable industry, yeah. Which sucks because, if you like in the perfect world for these people are like games media is corrupt and those YouTubers and stuff. They just want a bunch of a bunch of people walking around, I guess, live streaming. I don't know, like this the world it's a shitty world, But yeah, and then again, Kotaku did a really good job at covering Australian games while they could. Not to say other people don't. There are other websites obviously covering Australian games a lot. Obviously, Well Played covers Australian games a lot. But Kotaku was a place that had interviews and in-depth stuff on Australian games. So, I think that's the loss.
I mean, it's just a big loss for Australian consumers as well because they featured a lot of content and information about deals and stuff that was specific for Australian users that you can't get, from the actual Kotaku website and that kind of stuff. So sad, disappointing because obviously a lot of great writing was happening over there. And it obviously hit everybody else low because there were a place for, I guess, reviewers to strive for, or freelancers to strive to get an opportunity to write for, or get an opportunity over there, and that's kind of lost. So I guess they'll just have to slum it with us here at Explosion Network. Do you want to make $0 per review? Write for us.
But I mean, and the problem is with even places like us, right?
Yes.
I'm trying my best.
Are we part of the problem? Because we're doing this shit for free.
We're not. We're not part of the problem. But the problem is this: we fall into the current gap between the Kotaku's, Press Starts, whatever, the big sites that pay people and have a lot more access, right? We fall in the gap that the step before that. Currently, we have access. The door is open, but not all the way. If that makes sense, you know what I mean?
We have access, but they're not doing anything fancy for us.
No, but we have. It's like we're here, but to get from here to here is nearly impossible. And the step from here to here shows that
viral in some sort of way.
Yeah, and to get from here to here, you have to. I guess we would all have to quit our jobs and devote all our time to this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is just not going to be a thing. So it's sort of like if you can't support the sites that are if somewhere like Kotaku can't even work, then how does anyone, even in a world where it's imagine if we did all quit our jobs next week and was let's try it. So it would be like a death wish. It's just not possible. The landscape doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting just because the pedestrian group, they're cut. One of the reasons a lot of these places were cut was because they cut all their licensing deals. So if Kotaku hadn't been Kotaku, and it had been pedestrian group had started and
they wouldn't have enough content. Is the thing, which is the whole.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true.
Part of the deal is they get to republish content while publishing their own, and it's just that, and the brand thing. So, Kotaku Australia is imagine they're posting one article a day, but it may look like they're posting 5. So, anyway, sucks. Shout out to Kotaku AU.
Yep.
David, Emily, I don't know who else. The 2 people I know from Top End.
A lot of people behind the scenes, like Courtney and that.
Yeah,
stuff, so.
I'm sure lots of people I don't know. Press Out writes Xbox Game Pass is getting price increases along with a new standard tier. Let's try and make sense of this. Xbox Game Pass is about to undergo even more changes to its subscription models and prices only a year after Microsoft dropped Xbox Live Gold and introduced the Game Pass Core tier. And just after weeks of confirming that the service would be getting a massive shot in the arm with the next Call of Duty title launching into the service on day one. Now the company is axing Game Pass for console tier as of today and rolling out a new Xbox Game Pass standard, which includes back catalog titles and online multiplayer, but doesn't cover day one releases like current console, PC, and Ultimate tiers do. On top of this, a number of tiers are getting price increases. The reporting on changes first came from Windows Central and since been verified by Microsoft, but Xbox Game Pass console doesn't exist. Xbox Game Pass standard, which includes back catalog, costs $14.99 USD. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is going to $22.95 a month, up from $18.95. PC Game Pass is increasing to $13.95, up from $10.95. And Xbox Game Pass Core is getting an annual price increase to $89.95 a year, up from $79.95 a year. It will also no longer be possible to stack Xbox Game Pass subscriptions longer than 13 months. If you currently have more time stacked, it will remain that way. What do we think of this?
It's. I've never seen a company that doesn't like to be liked. As much as Xbox, like they fuck up, and everybody hates them, and then they do something good and kind of earn back a little bit of the positivity to them, and then they immediately like shit in their own cereal again and fuck it up again, and people are annoyed with them again. Like I feel like this is the vicious cycle we have been on for the last 12 months of Xbox, where they are showing promising signs of increasing their output of first-party games being released. They're increasing their overall presence within the gaming scene. They're actually bringing games to their consoles and to Game Pass. And every couple of months, they close down all those studios and they don't do very well at communicating anything. And then they do this on top of it all. Like for Joe Blow, dickhead me, it doesn't really affect me other than the price of Ultimate's going to go up a little bit because I do that anyway. But I think it takes
like 200 and something Australian dollars now.
Yes, which I don't think is that far. I think it was like 180, maybe a bit more because I think I was paying like $18.
It's $4 more a month, so
yeah,
extra, what, $48 a year?
Yeah, like it's for me personally, it's not a big deal, but I understand where like it's hard to say the time-age quote of Xbox Game Pass is the best deal in gaming because it kind of. There's too many caveats to it now. There's too many cycles. It used to just be you bought Game Pass, you used to get access to everything, and if you wanted PC, you'd probably have to bump it up to Ultimate. That isn't the case anymore, and I think that's frustrating. And I hope there's some positive comes out of it, but I don't think there will be.
Ash?
I can't believe the number of bandwagoners who are jumping on Xbox Game Pass is terrible now that the price has gone up so incrementally. It's a load of bullshit, and you just stay true to your side. I don't want to come off elitist or anything, but come on, $4 extra a month, and now it's gone from the best deal in gaming to, oh, maybe it's all right. Fucking bullshit.
No, I think the difference is I don't think no, because I would get that if it was just a $4 increase to the base amount. It's not that's a $4 increase if you already have Ultimate. It's a more of an increase if you have the standard, if you didn't pay for Ultimate and you just had the standard amount of Xbox Game Pass. Because I think it's like if you have Ultimate, it was like $18, $19 a month. And I think
the standard's going to 14.
Yeah, so 40 to 22.
Yeah, okay.
Like that's an extra $120 almost a month.
No, I agree that there's certain elements of it are like
I wish
the not day one thing is going to be a huge thing that sticks in people's teeth. I understand that, but this has obviously been a thing that's been very unsustainable since day one. and they have to keep their funds somehow. And I would prefer
But
them
the thing
to
is,
raise the
how-
price to Game Pass than sack a bunch of
We
studios.
don't know that it's unsustainable.
All streaming services are unsustainable, Ciaran. That's just how they work.
No, but maybe this
Or
one's
not work.
different. Maybe we believe. No, but the thing, I just don't. Yes, price increases are fine. I think inflation is a clear yes. We all know inflation is a thing. Everything in the world is getting more expensive. It's every couple of months I get a fucking message from Spotify or YouTube Premium or whatever fucking services I'm subscribed to. Hey, we're increasing your pay. Ha ha, hee hee, ho ho. Like it's yes, I get that. But then removing the day one, which I think the day one was the most impressive thing about Game Pass, removing that and putting that behind a more expensive tier, I think that's a frustrating thing to do.
I would say I'm sort of on Kieran's side for this and not on the, like, everyone on the internet's losing their mind about this. The price going up, I get it sucks, but like the whole best deal in gaming was because it was like the value wise for dollars the amount of games and day one and everything. It was the best deal in gaming. Now it's just
Okay,
like
what's
a
the new
decent
best deal gaming in?
There is none.
Oh,
I don't think there is a best deal in gaming.
no, there's not. It's an even
Nintendo
playground
Switch
now.
Online.
Maybe you can play Legend of Zelda Minish Cap on there, so it is. But I mean, I think it's one of those things you just have to look at, and like it's like 230, 240 for Ultimate, right? If you go, well, as long as I play like 3 new releases, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes, as long as if you ration it out, it makes sense.
which if you feel like you would play 3 brand new games on PC or Xbox at a minimum, sort of thing,
Assuming they released 3 brand new games.
assuming they release, but sometimes they're not first party, they could be third party as well. Let's remember that. There would be at least 3 plus minimum games in the next 12 months. Assuming you do that and it's your PC.
The amount of times, like, it doesn't even have to be a new game, but the amount of times I have gone to play something with friends or gone to want to enjoy something, and instead of having to buy the full thing, I've gone, oh fuck, I've got it on Game Pass already. I don't need to buy it. As long as I consistently am doing that, it doesn't.
I think the value is still there. It's just not it's not a no-brainer anymore. I think you just have to decide if it's actually for you or not, depending on how often you play your Xbox or your PC, and you would want to play those new release games. The thing I do think is dumb about this, the only thing that doesn't make any sense to me is, I was like, I get the price increase. I get it. You know, everything is going up. Fucking ridiculous. The world, whatever. But yeah, changing that core to just making it more confusing for the consumer, because there's going to be so many people that don't catch this news, are just going to make it harder to understand. What do you mean? I don't get? I thought I got Call of Duty at launch. What I'm on the wrong tier. I didn't know there was tiers. I thought it was just if you pay for PC or console. You know what I mean? I just, that's the part that I feel is confusing. Bit silly.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously it's Game Pass on PC still gets day one, right?
Yeah.
So why?
There's less games on PC, I guess. I don't know.
I guess PC has more of a culture of ownership. I guess.
Yeah.
Would be the major thing, you know.
They've got Steam on there for competitiveness, whereas Xbox is like the Xbox store or nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Yeah. So, but yeah, a bit weird, but whatever.
I mean, the weirdest thing is they just didn't couple this with some better, like, you know, some sugar, you know? We're going to give you some medicine. Here's some, you know, sugar.
Yeah, we're putting the price up, but we know it sucks, but here's a brand new game. I don't know.
Here's all these Activision games coming to Game Pass today.
Yeah, some shit like that, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm upset about all these people saying, oh, you know, it's all terrible now, you know? I've been saying this all along. You know, I'm not enjoying all these people. They changed the value of all gaming and ruined everything. I've been saying this all along. Now you jump on just because they've raised the price? Terrible. I'm very upset that it's stealing my gimmick.
You're so upset, yeah. Yeah, so upset.
Gimmick infringement, that's what this is.
Okay. Let's talk about a game that Ciaran loves that he knew nothing about until 48 hours ago, whatever it was.
Let's talk about the
Concord.
game that everybody was shitting on as soon as it was released and announced. It was in that massive state of play last year. Everybody's like, "Oh,
A couple months ago.
bullshit."
Yeah.
And then they showed like last year the little tiny
right.
snippet thing.
Yeah.
This year they showed the Guardians of the Galaxy X trailer, and everybody shitted on it. Everybody's had a chance to play it now.
I mean, I said on play it, I was like, this gameplay looks meh. And to be fair, the developers came out and did say we don't think that was a good trailer. So anyway, Ciaran, tell us what Concord is for people who are like, what is this? And why you're frothing it.
Yeah, so Concord is the latest iteration of a hero arena shooter, much like your Valorants or your Overwatch 2s or many hero shooters that have gone before Battleborn.
Shout outs.
Shout out to Battleborn.
He's got the mushroom head dude, like in Battleborn.
It is
the rollerblade one.
Yeah, the rollerblade one. What the whole list of them. This is the newest attempt. That is it's a Sony developed game. That.
Well, no, the studio is what?
The studio is Fire something. I can't remember.
Firewalk.
Firewalk. That's it. It's Firewalk, but it's okay.
Published by Sony.
Published by Sony is what I meant to say. Apologies.
Yeah. Firewalk's a Sony studio, but
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
my statement was fine. But like, it is a very interesting game in my kind of esteem that not only encourages learning and development of its individual characters, but then also has a strong focus on players being versatile and being able to play multiple different characters with different roles. I think my point for this game as a whole, I think the stuff that it makes it different and makes it interesting, it doesn't do a great job of presenting itself or putting that forward at the moment. I think it's a very well polished game in terms of like coming out during a beta. It's quite polished for a beta game. Playing it on PC didn't feel like I was playing a console port. It felt like I was playing a first person shooter on PC. All the 16 characters that it's come out on, which to me seems like a fucking ridiculous amount of characters for an initial beta. All play differently, all fit well into their roles, but then nobody is kind of mimicking skills. They all have their own way that they play out. The gameplay is designed around its actual competitive rivals mode that is 5 on 5, no respawns, but each round with you playing as casts of characters that picking different characters each round. The moment you win a round, the character you played in that round is locked out and you have to choose a different character. If you lose, you can keep picking. And it has this underlying system of each of the roles playing it for one round gives you a passive ability, much like faster reloads, higher damage resistance, that you get to have for the rest of that game. And so it really encourages players to, in between different rounds, play a different role, play something else, build up your boosts, your perks, so that in the later rounds, when you're playing your characters that you really enjoy or probably feel the most damaging on, you have the most perks and the most sustainable abilities for them for the end of the game. The game it's really interesting that the game is designed around this concept. It's either a seek and destroy type mode where you have to collect some cargo and plant it in one of the sites. Both teams fight over that cargo. It's whichever team gets to it first and then plants it. It's either doing that, holding a point, or eliminating the other team wins the round. And this game is so heavily focused on that and designed around that. All the characters actually have abilities that will last into the next round. So you will have characters that put down healing stations, that put down little plants that give damage boosts or little nerfs to the enemy team. Those objects perpetuate into the following rounds as long as the enemy team doesn't destroy them. So you can, like, early rounds, set up healing stations for your team. You can put up walls in different places. As long as you protect them, as long as when you're playing out they don't get destroyed, they will stay up. And it is about tactically picking your characters throughout each round, to give yourself the best setups, to give yourself the best passives, and to prepare your team for the whole rounds. And the way this is designed, the gameplay is designed so fucking well. Its biggest problem is the brawl mode, the quick play option, if you will, for this game that every single player has to play for the early point of the game, of when you're just learning the game, isn't that. It is a death match. It is dog tags from Call of Duty. It is not even fast respawns, but slightly slow respawns that want you to run and gun and to get into the action and to try out characters. But at the same time, the game is wanting you to swap. The game is wanting you to do the mechanics of getting the perks. It's not teaching you what the game actually is. And I think that is a frustrating element of the game, is because I think the game is so great, but there is the potential of new players not experiencing the full package of the game. You get a whole roster of characters that all play very differently, as I've already said, and then they get variants of each other on top of that. You can have the same character in 3 different iterations that have different perks on them. So either one character, for instance, will have on his initial, when you do a dodge roll, you reload your weapon, much like the original Cassidy passive. Star-Lord, as we call them, because he's very Galaxy-inspired. But then I've got the variant that I really like that gives both of his guns extra ammo in the clips. And I think that's really great. If you've been long-time listeners or anybody that's talked to me for any amount of time, I have adored Overwatch as a game and the Overwatch franchise for a long time.
Do you like
Fuck
Overwatch?
off, Dylan. Fuck off.
Overwatch fan.
But the biggest thing that drew me into that game was, before I even played Overwatch, was I watched the cinematics. I watched the Bastion cinematics and the Two Dragons cinematics, and leading up to that, that's what got me hyped, got me interested, is that this multiplayer game has characters and has interesting elements to it lore-wise.
Kept you up for some early late nights, didn't it?
Yeah, it kept me going for early late nights 100%, right? Like, it kept me going all the way through those early late nights. And
killed them too.
100% burnt the fuck out on them. But like, on top of it, and I instantly get that vibe loading into Concord for the first time. You immediately get 2 cutscenes that are building on the characters and showing you the world and giving you what's going on. They're not just some memeing about, hey, you got a map and this is how you use the map. No, actually watch them and you will get the full experience of the characters, of the writing. And, you know, they've already said that every week in each season, a new cutscene is going to drop for the game. They're going to show more of these characters. We've only seen one crew. There is multiple crews that these 16 characters come from. And this game is already set up to have more than 16 characters. You can only go into each match with your selected kind of roster of characters. You get to pick 16 at the moment, so it's everyone, but you have to pick 12 main ones and 4 backups just in case. And so it's already set up to a point where later down the line, if you don't want to play every character, or you have to pick and choose which characters you want in your roster to play at the moment. Maybe you play a different style when you're in different teams. I think this game is so interestingly set up for an esport, but then but on top of it just being a multiplayer that can be adored, that can be garner the fan base and the community, much like Overwatch did, in such a organic way. I don't think the game teaches people very well. I think playing with both of you yesterday and then playing with another couple of friends today, I had to explain, because I took the time to play every character and read every character tip yesterday across the early 4 hours that I played by myself, that I learned every character and like read all the little nuances and learned about this switching characters to get different perk system that isn't obvious. It's not, there's no other game like it that playing a different character is going to give you a perk that helps other characters later down the line. I think this game is doing some fresh things, but it's just not selling itself very well right now. And I'm excited to see how they go. I'm excited to see them implement a tutorial, to implement a practice range, to grow the game out. It isn't a free-to-play game, and I think that's a benefit because you're not bombarded by microtransactions. This beta didn't have a store, didn't have anything in it. It will have a store that'll only have cosmetics in it. But there's so much to do in this game. It does so much right, and it is a full package already. Way more than Overwatch 2 was, which is fucking insane considering Overwatch 2 had Overwatch 1 to learn all the lessons from. it's a fuller package in its current state, and it's only going to grow bigger. I'm excited to see more of Concord, and I'm excited to see more people play it.
Ash, if you can,
Yeah, obviously, we played for a few hours last night. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Even though we got our asses beat consistently.
well, I don't want to say me and Ciaran were winning before you got on. So.
But then you and me, the one match that we played together, we won.
Yeah,
so.
but they were like really, really, really bad.
Well, I don't know. Maybe all the really, really bad people.
It also might be a case of me playing on PC and you playing on PlayStation. When I'm with you, we're getting both sets of players. Whereas if you two are playing by yourself,
that's probably what it is.
Yeah, you're only getting PlayStation.
Other PlayStation players.
Yeah.
Also, they screwed us several times and kicked a player out. So
that's fair. We did play a lot of 4v5s,
and that kept happening today. And also, I had an entire character that didn't have a body model, no matter if I restarted the game, and just had a head hitbox, and that was it. And that was fucking insane. But
character
it was fixed
just
today.
invisible.
Yeah.
Lots of fun, lots of variance between the different characters. Obviously, there's going to be ones that you do like, and those are going to be ones you don't like. Just with movements and weaponry and that kind of stuff, and skills and that kind of thing. Obviously, very really good package so far. Obviously, it's only I want to say 4 of the modes that are going to be in the whole thing. So it's still very pared down for what they're going to fully release.
They're adding one more mode next.
At the next
weekend.
Yeah, next weekend. But yeah, it looks good. Players good. The cinematics are really cool. Hopefully, I believe that there's obviously that Galactic Guide or whatever is blocked out at the moment. I assume you'll be able to watch all the cinematics again through that. You would hope.
Also, every time you launch the game, the week cinematic plays.
Yeah, that would make sense. A fun way to get you in. But yeah, it's been cool seeing a lot of people who are more into this kind of game get very excited. It's looks like Sony know what they've got.
Yeah. I was liking it as well, and as I said, I don't want to say I was shitting on it, but I definitely didn't speak positively.
You're a naysayer.
I was a naysayer, that's for sure. I didn't like the cinematic, and I definitely didn't like the gameplay that was in the original trailer. I was like, oh no, this looks meh, looks bad. But jumping in, playing it, every character feels so different. They all play very well. You can see how it could. You can see the competitive. You can see it's going to spawn exactly what I guess Sony want out of it, which is both a game that people are playing weekly to get that content for fun, but also a competitive esport, I think. So, which, yeah, I mean, in a world where apparently Bungie's signing off on it with the games that Sony's allowed to make live service or not, I guess you can see how this one got the pass. And apparently the Last of Us multiplayer game got the big cross from Bungie.
Because Naughty Dog didn't want to work on Last of Us forever.
Well,
they want to make other games.
Like what?
Like Last of Us 3.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So it really has. But no, it was surprisingly a good time. And I think the second you start talking about one life modes, people are going to get like, oh god, that sounds way too competitive or hard for me. That sort of element. But I don't think the more, I guess, quote unquote casual modes are the ones the game was designed for. Once you play the competitive modes, you can tell that's where the game's at. But I don't want to say that playing those open modes wasn't fun, and the game makes you play those until level 6 anyway. So it's a good way to learn the characters, and I definitely feel like if you just want to practice characters' abilities, you're gonna they're the modes you're gonna play because you can die, respawn, and have another go. So they're the ones.
Those are the modes that you're gonna play if you're not playing with friends. I think it'll be harder and less rewarding to play the rivals mode with randoms. Or not on voice chat, whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, you can see it's right. It's the combination of once you start getting a hang of it and being like, okay, so if I play this character, because everything's persistent on the map, which I thought was cool. So if someone places down healing pads, they're there 3-4 rounds later, even if no one's playing as that character anymore. So I don't know if it's like the next level stat, but I was like, oh, I should play as should start playing as the dude who can drop mushrooms that like speed you up when you go through them early. So then you have those to go through. And you can see all sorts of variations of how people are going to play it. Like, I mean, the game's going to drop. People are going to figure out there's one character that's OP, and then people are just going to start rotating that character. I can already see that happening, but that's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be like win one round, someone else plays that character. Like, there's going to be a competitive strat, but there's just so many characters.
We were talking about before, like when we were playing Rivals, like there was a few rounds where like they were using all the tanks. Like, fuck. How are we supposed to have come this? But then obviously they get blocked off of all the tanks.
Yeah. And it does make
their preferred tank, I guess, is the thing.
Yeah. You know? And it does make me wonder somewhat if like in the competitive future of this game, it adds a drafting system similar to like League of Legends or like any sort of MOBA, I guess, because if you think the enemy team is going to be picking entirely into all tanks, you could at least counteract that by trying to pick all into like a particular set of characters, or you know what I mean, something like that. So I don't know. Like, it seems like there's potential there for more strategic picking of characters rather than just randomly.
Well, my favorite use today I saw was the one character Duchess puts up walls, and players playing that and putting up walls in, and those walls are perpetual. Like, they just stay there until they're broken. And so people were putting them in interesting spots and just blocking off areas completely to the enemy
when we
team.
were playing, it's like the enemy team would put a wall up, and then because as you pointed out, you can actually run through them, which I didn't realize at first if you're on that player's team. But then people were putting up a wall on the other side, so it's like you go to run through the wall, and then so the other enemy team walled off the other side, so it is like fully blocked for both teams now. Yeah, which is interesting. But no, good. Keen to definitely check out.
Have you got a main yet, Ciaran?
I wouldn't say, I don't think maining is a thing. I definitely like I'm not a fan of the tanks. Like, I like there's Baz with the knives. I really enjoy.
So
I like Lennox, the Star-Lord character. I like Duchess a lot. I like there's definitely the characters I have in my rotations.
What's the crossbow chick? Because that's fun.
I can't remember her name. She's actually busted, and I expect her to be heavily tuned back. I played a lot more of her today, and she's nuts.
So good.
She gets so many wall charges of her fire. Her normal, like, if you aim down the sights of her crossbow, it charges up.
Yep.
That does a stupid damage. Even if you don't get directly hit.
You don't even direct hit. It does so much AoE.
Yeah, it's so much AoE. Like, I feel like that character. I was like, I played it a couple times today in games where I was like, all right, I need to win a round. I'm going to play her and just rip people to shreds. I think it'll be interesting, and I'm excited to see. I even had the thought today, I'm like, man, how fucking cool is it if seasonally they change what perks each role gives you? So that,
I mean, they could, I guess, like, if no game's ever narratively affected characters' passives and stuff.
No, like, that'll change. Idea. But like, even if it's just like, hey, switching to the anchor role this season gives you this perk, and it's like you then have to change how you're playing and how you're picking things to do it, and it's really interesting. I guess, once again, going back on people not learning or not being taught this game properly. It's interesting to see. You'll be in rounds, especially maybe not so much in the competitive mode because people kind of are forced to, but in the normal mode, when I'm swapping around and like before like the midpoint in the match, I've got like 4 or 5, I've got almost 4 buffs on me, and other people have 1 because they've been playing the one character the entire time. I think it's a very it's an interesting factoid to that game, and I think there's a lot of layers to it that I'm excited for, and hope that the teams at Firewalk find a way to direct more people into the actual gameplay and like the way that game is designed, because the characters are not designed for that brawl mode whatsoever. They're very much designed to be used in the single eliminations.
I definitely feel like the brawl mode's the best way to practice, though. Like, just general like learning how a character moves, because
I think it's good for like your early, but I think I could see Brawl being ended up as the quick play mode, like where your casual players go to play the game,
it's
and
the armor.
I don't think you would want that if you were the devs. You would want them to mainly play the actual game mode of the game and play around with how it's done.
All right. And then finally, just a shout out before we wrap up this week's episode. Jacob did put up a review for Angerfoot, which I also have installed, but I have yet to play, but I definitely want to play. But Jacob gave it a 8 out of 10. And wrapped up his review by saying the music, gameplay, and visuals combined to make this game what it is, and I'm on board with it. Once I'm done writing this, I'm diving back in to kick some more ass, and if possible, take a few names while I'm at it. Angerfoot has a special place in my heart, and I'm determined to collect all the sneakers and uncover their abilities. So in case you don't recall, Angerfoot is a Devolver Digital published game from Free Lives. It is like a very fast-paced kicking and shooting game. I think that's about the best way to describe it. Weird antics, weird characters, crazy trailers, good time. Actually,
first person Hotline Miami, I guess.
Basically, yeah, where the character does everything with their feet, including driving, apparently. So
because somebody stole their shoes, and that's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable.
Got to get them back.
You played some of this at PAX like 2 years ago, whenever it was. Ash, I don't know. You keen to? Do you want to dive into the full game outside, or?
Maybe. I remember me not being very good at it, so that's a drawback. But,
yeah, but if that was a drawback, you wouldn't play any games. Oh! But
thanks for listening to this week's.
That's some good shit. I really bet you have. Nah, I'm keen to dive in. Should be good.
What are you gonna play it on?
I got it on PC.
Okay.
Feels like a personal computer game.
It's
fast paced. No. I need the full mouse and keyboard, I reckon, for this. It's too fast paced.
Sure.
Too fast paced for Rock Deck. You know? These feet need full mouse control.
I saw somebody playing it with a controller, but then they also had like a kick stand or something. Or like
sure.
Something that they could kick.
Why not?
Oh yeah,
a demo station.
Like, yeah,
that's funny. Cool. I can't remember if I said score, but anyway, 80 out of 10. That was I can't remember what I said. All right, that'll do it for this week's episode of Arcade Couch. Of course, you can review. Check out Jacob's review on ExplosionNetwork.com as well. Let us know your thoughts on anything we've talked about. Angerfoot, Kotaku Australia shutting down, Xbox Game Pass, Concord, whatever. ExplosionNetwork.com/Twitter, ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord. And if you want to support the show, the website, all of us, ExplosionNetwork.com/support takes you to our Ko-fi page. Same time, same couch next week. See you there.